All right. Thanks again. I'm super excited to be presenting today and going over the research, really the roadmap and what we've gotten done and where we see this going in 2021 and even beyond. You'll see some key themes here, some of which we've touched on during this XDay event. Others I'll kind of dive into a little bit more. But you know me, Tim is also on the line. Tim is the director of audience and sample operations here at QuestionPro. So I wanted to bring him on and get him to talk about this high frequency, high yield research that we will be unveiling here today as well. So the agenda will give about 15, 20 minutes to the research product showcase. We'll have some time for Q&A. And so feel free to put those questions inside of the chat or the Q&A like you've been doing, and we'll be happy to answer those. If we can't get to them all today, we'll be happy to do that offline as well. All right, let's get started. So the research product roadmap, what have we gotten done even just in Q3 of 2020? And so we revised the cross tabulation. So we made it easier from a number of standpoints and added some additional features like being able to cross all of your questions in each of the rows, making it easier to see more of the data, along with a cleaner UI look and feel as well. So that was a big enhancement and some other things that we did there. We released Anchored MaxDiff. I'll talk a little bit more about that, what it is, and how it can make your research a lot better if you're using those MaxDiff question types. For communities, we released PayPal rewards. So we were hearing that our customers wanted a good cash option. So PayPal rewards was the best solution there. Digital focus groups, touched on this. These are live. Viv talked about it earlier today. We integrated with Zoom and added on some natural language processing and other things that researchers would want. And we're going to continue to push this as well. We released the instant answer. So this is a Slack integration where you can type a question into Slack and select the number of respondents that you want, what country you want it to go to, the language, and that'll automatically send through Slack. It'll send out that question and return the results to you really fast. We'll do a live demo here today, and then Tim will talk more about this coming up and some different applications for that. All right, so what are we going to get done in this quarter? What are we working on? So we're working on LiveCast, which is a feature that Viv mentioned where you can collect video within the survey via question type. When Gabor Granger pricing modeling, Raymond really touched on this. I won't spend a lot of time on it other than introducing it and showing you what it's like in our platform in addition to what Raymond covered. Variable bucketing is something that we're going to be releasing as well, to where you can really bucket these variables and then use those for analysis later on. Cluster analysis is something that we're also going to be releasing, so continuing to advancing research here. And then also, in terms of a community feature, being able to chat and message directly with a member without having to use any sort of email communication. So this kind of goes back into engagement and making it seem more real there. But first, I want to do this live demo and try out instant answers to show you how we can help you turn around those quick research studies. So I'm just going to share this here real quick and show you the Slack integration. Tim, can you confirm that you can see my Slack?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So this is the Slack integration. This is a question that we asked earlier around COVID. So, I was wondering, there's a lot of talk, obviously the vaccine is here and getting this pushed out and getting people vaccinated. But will this still be impacting the economy? Do people think that it will still be impacting the economy even in a year from now in 2022? So I wanted to find this out. So I can go type a backslash, I can type question. I can type in my question here. So I can say, will COVID-19 still be impacting the economy in 2020? Okay, fix this. In 2020, I put a question mark here, and then I type in my response choices. So I can say yes, and then no, and then end it with those brackets. So you can see that I'm doing that. And then from here, I can just send it. And then you'll see these questions that'll come up. So how many individuals would you like to ask? I'll send it to 50 here, just so we can make sure that we get these results back for the sake of time. I want to do English. I want to ask these in Australia. And then so it'll confirm here, and it'll list the question, the answer choices. And then am I sure I want to ask this question? So I'll say, yes, I do. So from here, it'll push this question out. Right now, the survey's getting pushed out, and respondents are probably coming in within the next few seconds here to do that. So I'll leave this. We'll check back on this a little bit later in the research presentation here. So I'm just going to present again here, and then talk about back to the presentation here where we see those results come in. So Research Outlook 2021 and beyond. What does this look like? How are we thinking about it? So it's really around 3 key pillars. A longitudinal continuous discovery is really finding out via communities, the LiveCast, and the video focus group, really around curiosity. And I think, curiosity is really, that was what fuels this continuous discovery, and also wanting to do more research and getting that in-depth research with your customers or your community base. And I think it's all about seeking the desired outcome by conducting these small research activities that really lead up to a larger cumulative research effort that you can do with your customers. But the key thing here is frequently reaching out to them, developing a good touch point and a good schedule to do that. And via communities, you can do that via LiveCast, being able to collect video, being able to process that, put sentiment around it, are all key things that you can do here. And then, of course, video focus group, taking the qual aspect into it and really conducting that video element with adding on some different natural language processing and different things that we can do to really help out the market researchers in this case. And then high frequency research. We like to talk about the sort of speed to insights. How quickly can we get you these results that are on your mind? And this is what Tim has really been spearheading with this instant answers product. I mean, how quick is that? You type it into Slack, and then you can get your answers back right there. So really low impact, but really high reward in terms of getting that research done quickly. And then pricing analytics. This is a key area. We had Westendorp, we had MaxDiff, we had Conjoint, but what's new is Gabor Granger. We added that, and then also adding Anchored MaxDiff as well. So that's a key component of this pricing analytics package that we talked about. So let's dive in. I'll cover these, and feel free to ask again if you have any questions around any of these. So the community management platform, we talked about this with Matt, and kind of touched on a little bit earlier with Vivek.
And just sorry to interrupt you. I think there's a question that was on the Slack integration. So let's just cover that, and then you can probably head ahead.
Sure.
The question was, where does who's managing the panel or the community for the Slack audience? Where does that come from? Is one of the questions our customers have been asking. And can you give a little insights on that? Does QuestionPro manage it, or is it external partners?
Sure. Tim, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one key differentiator, by the way, the results are in, so you can share that.
Oh, nice. All right.
But one key differentiator here is Slack is just the vehicle. So we are authoring the survey within Slack, and then QuestionPro is managing this via algorithmically all the respondents that are coming in. These respondents are sourced via different ways of getting to them, whether that's an intercept, whether that's an email invite, or just an advertisement, maybe some Candy Crush type bonus for apps, for more jewels or for more lives or something like that. But these are all double opted in respondents that have agreed to provide research answers for us. So QuestionPro, long answer for that is QuestionPro is managing it algorithmically. So all the same quality controls that you would expect from a scientific study that you're running with us is going to be within Slack integration as well.
Beautiful. And one more question from one of our customers is, how does a QuestionPro customer really access this? Is there, obviously we can share the help file and so on for this, but just a snippet of it. How does a QuestionPro customer really access this integration?
Sure. So the easiest way to do it is to email me or Dan. What we'll do from there is we'll give you the permissions to access our app. And then we will onboard you in a quick meeting, about 5 or 10 minutes, and talk to you about how it works, and answer really any questions that you have, show you the different ways that other customers are using it, news organizations, sales, thought leadership, things like that. And we'll be happy to set it up on your Slack integration.
Beautiful. I'll set up an introduction for this customer bit for the two of you. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Adi. A good question.
Thanks.
So then so getting back to the community management platform. So we talked about this with Matt, and this is something that we obviously offer, and the ability to do quant and qual, I think in one go is a key component of this. So you can still send out those research surveys that you're programming in QuestionPro, send them out to your community, get those results, but also the ability to do qualitative as well, and having that aspect. So the mix of quant and qual is a key component here, and really having that continuous discovery with your customers, I think, is another component here. Digital focus groups. So we talked a little bit about this. Essentially, the pandemic really pushed this on our roadmap. It was there, and we were going to probably get to it in 2021, but we really needed this as a result of the pandemic, and sort of this was really a catalyst to push a lot of people to do online focus groups that we're traditionally doing research, in person. And I've talked to some large, multinational companies, and they said, we've closed down all of our usability facilities, so we really need a solution for this. And when I say closed down, like they closed it down all the way through 2021, just as a precaution. So really a key thing that was needed here in terms of these digital focus groups. So what do we do? So we put together this. Really, this is Zoom integration. We use that for the platform for the video, but we've taken it a step further and added in different features that really researchers want. Real-time transcription. So let's say as I'm talking now, this is getting transcribed in real time along the right-hand side here. It's putting sentiment to it along with the different categories. So you have these key insights that you can then use for your, the analysis of your focus group. So using that natural language processing, because you can integrate this in the community, you can really use pre-profiled members. And also there's a good reward system so that you can really reward these members right after the call. So you don't have to, it's not some other platform they have to go to. It's all integrated in. So it makes it really easy from that regard as well. And then LiveCast. So this is a key feature as we continue to talk about video and that element. Be people using Instagram, TikTok, all these other more video led platforms, I would say, is that a LiveCast is the same way. So asking people to give feedback via their device. So this is all via question type. There's no app or anything they have to download. The question type will prompt them to start their camera, and then via the camera, they collect that data. They use machine learning and, again, natural language processing to really categorize the data, provide sentiment to it, good, bad, neutral, and then also add these tagging as well. So they get the emotional recognition in addition. So really powerful question type that can really yield these results and get good feedback. Even you can use this to validate it. Like you want to make sure that you get some more in-depth response and get it from a real person. You can make sure that this is a good question type to do that on as well. And then high frequency research. Tim, I think you wanted to cover this aspect or this portion.
Yeah, definitely. So high frequency research is something that I'm very passionate about. We are seeing, as Adi said earlier, the world is transitioning from longer studies into more broken up studies. Their attention spans are much shorter. There was Vine, there's Instagram, there's Reels, TikTok, and really what we're trying to get at here is we would like shorter surveys to capture the sentiment of how customers are feeling or how the world is feeling on a certain topic. And really the speed to insight is something that I'm really championing for. So Dan, if you don't mind sharing the results, so this is one that we did earlier. We fielded in the United States, just kind of asking, what is dessert you would rather prefer? What is a biscuit? Was it a sweet treat, or is it a flaky non-sweet pastry? Of course, people know that as flaky non-sweet pastry, which is what they prefer. And the instant answers portion of this is the quickest way to get insights that I've ever seen. Really revolutionary technology here. Survey responses within minutes. It's easy to set up. There's a million ways to dig into these analyses. Yeah, so you can, Dan, you mind showing the results?
Let's get to that. You said that the results are in, so
yes.
Let me do this here. Let me share this. Okay. All right, let me get to this Slack. All right, so you can see the question, the results are in. So it took, 3 minutes to get these 50 responses. So the overwhelming majority say that yes. So over 40 of the 50 we asked say that COVID-19 will still be impacting the economy in 2020 or 2022 rather. So, I mean, the quick insights, quick data, these are things that you can ask via, if you want to, you're deciding between two product names and you just want a choice. That's come up before. Tim, I know you've had some examples in sort of the blogging space and getting titles to articles and different things. So it can be used from product to advertising. I mean, a number of different use cases, Tim, and I know you've seen a lot of these different use cases as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the main use cases that I would say is during the election, the United States election, people needed real-time feedback, even to what the moderator was saying 3 minutes ago, as you saw. And in the United States, sometimes you can even get responses back quicker than that. So if a moderator was, say, being talked over too much, the executives at insert news organization here could then reach out to that person live at the moderator and say, hey, maybe you need to talk about restricting time and maybe muting mics. There was some really great research that was done over how can we get these candidates to stop railroading the other candidate. And how we did that was they essentially polled for, are you going to mute the microphones of a candidate, and what are the implications from that? So that's one way. Another way is thought leadership. For a lot of blogs, they'll, sometimes you'll see a funny article about, X amount of people said that they do this, or X amount of people say they do that. It's really a quick way to get a title for your blog, or put that out, or any type of content really, and be able to drive those clicks and really understand what people are looking for. Another way for that is, sales. I had a customer pre-COVID that was taking the beta version of this, and they were actually on the subway in New York City, and they were trying to get insights around a meeting that they were just having. So they were walking into a meeting with 150 people that they were doing a training on. And what they wanted to do is understand, hey, how many people would use this if I were to put it in front of them today based on the news from the last 2 days? So once they got that, they were able to put they were able to use real-time insight into their customers and into the United States to really give a insight that you wouldn't have got traditionally through market research, to just say, hey, this happened 15 minutes ago, and I already have 1,000 people that have responded negatively or positively against that. Really, really great insight there. And one thing that Dan was mentioning earlier is, say it can be something as simple as, what do I put the adjective for this product before, or do I put it after, or which adjective should I use describing whether it's a food item or it's a consumer good or product, anything like that. There's really no boundaries for the Slack integration, and I really like to see what creative things that you guys come up with.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I would say, and if you want to use this, reach out to Timurai and we can easily set you up with this, give you a quick tutorial of how to use it, and then you're off to the races really easily. So that's perfect. So thanks, Tim. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So moving on here. So pricing analytics, and wanted to talk about the Van Westendorp, MaxDiff, Conjoint, and Gabor Granger. And really these make up the pricing analytics offering here at QuestionPro. So really the Gabor Granger price modeling, I won't spend a lot of time on this because, if you were with us earlier, Raymond did a great presentation on this. So really, with Gabor Granger, the aim is to measure the elasticity of demand and to find really the revenue maximizing price points. And so we've helped out like a video game provider reset their standard pricing for like add-on items, and they weren't charging enough for some of these things. So by doing this Gabor Granger price modeling of essentially asking, would you be willing to buy a product at, let's say, $100? Then the next question would be, would you be willing to buy this product at $200? And if they say no, then you kind of go back and so on. So it's these different answers that are noted down until you get to that maximizing price that they're willing to pay. So you can see in this example here, they can calculate the price elasticity. There's revenue maximizing price points that you can see. What we've done is taken essentially the revenue and the demand curve and married those up. And so you can see that here. So, this point here, it looks like the price is around $100 is the most that, or was the most optimized price that they're willing to pay. So this is easily done. As Raymond mentioned, you can easily set this up inside of the QuestionPro platform as well. And Van Westendorp, this is something that we've had, but it's a key component, as Raymond mentioned. Like, this is another powerful way. Really, you want to use Van Westendorp when you're unsure what price points the market is willing to potentially accept. For example, it can come in handy we had a client that used consumer packaged goods space. They were in that particular realm. And through this method, they confirmed that, again, their pricing was a little bit too high in this case. So they were able to lower it and get that. But essentially what Van Westendorp is it's asking 4 questions. So really, is something too cheap? Is it what would be a good bargain, great buy for the money? Is it at what point is it too expensive? And what point is it too expensive that you wouldn't even consider buying it? So really, it's those 4 questions that get different price points, and then through the modeling, you're able to get what a customer would accept and those acceptable pricing. So we make it easy through this display here to show you, the most those price points that are acceptable to the market based on the questions that you were asking here. And then MaxDiff, obviously this is a trade-off of various attributes, and if you can use additional, like the questions, and they're designed to work. Really, you get the absolute importance of, let's say it's 4 different credit cards are offered, and you're asked to pick which one you like most, which one you like least. It gives you the absolute importance, and that's really what the anchored MaxDiff is around. Traditionally, it's more of a relative model where relative to those attributes being asked, that the share of preference of those. But if you ask anchored MaxDiff, it gives you more of an absolute model that exactly how important this particular let's call it attribute is. So in this example, you have your most and least preferred options. Then you have the anchored responses. And really it's asking, the anchored MaxDiff is simply asking an additional follow-up question. And then that gets bundled up into the analysis as well. So, considering the items shown here, please choose which of are must-haves for you. So here you can select, whatever they select here, that those are of absolute importance, and you can factor those into your model so exactly that, these are things that actually people care about and they have a high share of preference. So it's another data point that you can add into your MaxDiff modeling here. And again, it's really around getting the the absolute importance of the particular attributes that you're showing here. And then conjoint analysis, I agree with Raymond. This is really the Rolls Royce of pricing, and also I would say even some product research in terms of what features make up a particular product. Won't spend a lot of time on this other than we have it. We use the discrete choice method here. You can do fixed tasks, you can do prohibited pairs, but really you can use it to measure choices and get those utility values and analyze the different trade-offs. And then you can do market simulation because you have those different players in the market. So you can really simulate, if I offer this, or if I offer this along with this other feature or attribute, that you can see what that effect is on your market share. So really powerful to use. And again, we make it easy. You put in essentially the attributes and then the different levels here. And then we can optimize the model, the number of steps that you should go through, and then give you the results in a dashboard like this. So really make that, we really make that an easy process as well. So that's the conjoint analysis here, and that really rounds it out. We showed you the results of the live demo. So Adi, I don't know if there's any other questions that we can answer for people at this time, but happy to do that.
Tim took the questions on chat itself, so we are good.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
There is one question that's just popped up that says the can question has been set up in other languages or bilingually and still get the analysis out. It's by Veena Tan.
Sorry, for what? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can.
Can question is set up in multilingual.
Oh yeah, you can. You can do it in multilingual. Absolutely.
Got it. And obviously the data that comes back in the same format realistically, because you've written the question in multilingual, right? So but I think you need to be a little more careful when you're selecting the demographics for that. Is there something that happens, guys, internally? Like, for example, there is no way to select a language, right? You just type it in the language, or do you select, like if you write a question in French, for example, do you have to go and select, will it ask you like, do you want to launch this in French? Is there a language selection there?
Yeah, there's a language selection that you can do. And then also you can use, different currencies. If you're using some of these pricing questions, it'll have, different currencies depending on where you're at, if you're launching a multinational study.
Got it. Beautiful. I think that pretty much covers it up. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tim, for staying up late.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Please help yourself to a glass of wine from us. Thanks for taking the time and giving everybody in Asia Pac an update of what is to be expected for QuestionPro research. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.